Okay, so one of the questions that I get a lot is, why do people vomit when they drink ayahuasca? Let's start with something that most people get wrong, and it's that they think that trauma is a mental thing. And most people don't know that trauma is first a physiological happening before it becomes a psychological one. A lot of people think, oh, I reacted that way because my dad hit me when I was a child, or this reminds me of my ex-girlfriend, or this reminds me of my abusive ex-husband, or there's different things that we all suffer, and then when we find ourselves in environments, places, situations, or with emotions that feel very familiar to that, we tend to lose all consciousness in that moment. We go into fight or flight, right? And we snap, we react, we close down. This has many negative impacts in our life, right? If you want love and you're projecting your caring and projecting your last partner onto your new one, that's all you're gonna see. If somebody said no about something when you were a child and you had a hard time about it, then maybe receiving a no from someone or expressing no to somebody as an adult is going to be difficult. But back to the video, the essence here is to realize that when something happens, our reaction is instinctual, it's compulsive. When I meet a woman and she tells me something that reminds me of a bad experience in the past, I don't sit there and I listen to what she's saying and think, oh, this reminds me of that woman. Oh, okay, now I am upset. There's no thought process. Is something happens and by impulse, by compulsion, we act, we react, right? And afterwards, maybe we feel a little bit of shame or guilt, or we realize, well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm getting angry, I'm getting explosive. I'm not setting my boundaries, or maybe I'm setting them by closing off completely. Trauma is physiological because this is a reaction from the body. In those moments, your body is trying to keep you safe, so it just pulls you away from, or tries to take you away and your attention from that situation and from that moment. And it's physiological because, and this is overly simplified, but for the sake of brevity, when we're children, we go into fight or flight. Something happens and we're going to fight or flight. And the issue here is that in nature, anytime that an animal is threatened, anytime that an animal faces a predator, they go into the same response, fight or flight. But in nature, the animal either fights or flights, right? When you go into like that feeling of shock, that is your body and your adrenal response producing a lot of like hormones and substances inside your body, a lot of chemistry that will have you run faster than you would, or fight faster and have more stamina. Like it's like being on steroids for a few seconds or minutes. So you have excess resources in your system to fight or to run away and flight. And when you're a child, you can't fight your mother or your father or your uncle. You can't fight either. Like, what are you gonna do? Grab your Barbies or He-Man and just live by yourself with your toys when you're 6 years old? No, so we're faced with a dilemma, and it's, I can't fight and I can't flight, so we freeze. And the issue here is that as we freeze, those excess resources that were meant for us to fight or flight don't get used. And these are very toxic for the body, so that chemistry gets stored. Maybe you wanted to yell back and and then suddenly gets stored in your throat, or maybe your power was taken away and then it's stored in your stomach. Maybe your anger was dismissed. Maybe you want to give love, or you wanted to receive love in that moment, and it got, the whole thing got messed up, and then your heart closed off. So trauma is this. Trauma is a physiological thing that is happening. It is literally like excess toxic chemistry that was never released from your system. This is why you can think positively as much as you want, but there are things and areas in your life where you breathe, you do yoga, okay, think positively, and then the situation comes and you fall in the same thing again. You react in the same way. You repeat the same pattern. You fall for the same kind of people. You get drawn to the same kind of toxicity. And you ask yourself, why if I'm doing all of this, if I think positively, why am I having struggles in love? Why is my health like this? Why can't I draw a boundary? Why do I have blockages around money? And it's because it's physiological. You're trying to work at it from your mind. You're trying to put out fire with fire, in a sense. So ayahuasca goes to the root of it. And the root of it is first physiological. There are things that get very tense when you face trauma or you face difficult situations. Patterns that that bring closure into your body, into your energy, into your heart, into your life in general. So people vomit because, and those who have done ayahuasca understand this, the plant starts showing you first the feeling, the emotion. Where is it? Is it up here? Is it near your heart? Is it in your stomach? And you start having a vision of, this sometimes black, gooey ball of energy or stuff. And literally it asks you, if you're paying enough attention, hey, are you ready to let this go? It never forces you. It's very delicate in that way, but it's with you. Hey, ready to let this go? And then if you accept the call, then you start feeling literally how parts of your body and muscles start compressing, and you're helping that process. And you can see how this fluid that you saw in your vision starts moving upwards and upwards and upwards. And usually when it's at the space of the throat or about to come out, you have a vision. And in this vision, you see where it came from. You realize what it is that you're about to let go of, if you choose. Right? Suddenly you start reliving the situation that caused the trauma, but from a third point of view, from a third person's point of view. You can see yourself, you can see the person that abused you, that hurt you, with compassion, with equanimity, and with wisdom. Right? You're not re-traumatizing yourself, but you're now understanding in a deeper way what happened, with consciousness. And in that space you have a chance to forgive that person, to forgive yourself if you choose to. And you can choose not to, but if you choose not to, you will start feeling more and more sicker and sicker, and you will literally realize, you'll be conscious of what it is that you're doing to your body by not letting go. But if you decide, okay, I'm going to let it go, I truly forgive them from my heart, or I truly forgive myself, you start vomiting. For some people, the vision happens in the bucket. As you grab the bucket, you're vomiting, suddenly the liquid starts taking shapes in your imagination or in your vision, and you start seeing like a movie playing there. And as you're vomiting, you see what your dad did to you, what your mom did to you, what your previous partner did to you. So the vomiting is a cleansing, it's a release. Because once it's out of our body, then the compulsion, the reaction, and all the ways that we have built in our life to try to avoid feeling that are gone. People who have addictions, whether that's money, easy money, drugs, working too much, sex, video games, they're running away from a sense of uneasiness within themselves, within their own bodies. And it's because their body is just like a dirty house. There's stuff that needs to be cleaned up. So of course nobody wants to come to home to a dirty house. Or if they come, they just want to lock the door and then drink to forget. Watch movies, be entertained, be in social media. So yeah, the idea here is that we get to take a glimpse at that and release it and clean it. Because once we clean it, then our home feels very welcoming. Then suddenly I don't feel so drawn to eating all day long, to drinking, to maybe doing things for money that I normally wouldn't, to sacrificing what's important for me just for approval, for resources, for comfort, right? Those things are never solved by forcing yourself out of them, but by understanding what it is within you that caused them. And that's usually at the essence a physiological thing that got stuck in your body. That ayahuasca helps you release physiologically, like you vomit it out. Mentally you understand, and emotionally you feel the closure, you feel the love, the forgiveness. And this is the beauty of this kind of healing. And this is also why sometimes you will fast for a long time, your stomach is empty, you're hungry, you drink ayahuasca, and that day you vomit half a bucket of really weird stuff. And you wonder, where did it come from? I didn't drink that much medicine, I didn't drink that much water. And it's like, well, there's stuff that has been stagnant in your system. This is why vomiting is a part of a ceremony, purging, releasing. Now, before I end this video, I want to make a distinction. Vomiting sometimes happens because the ayahuasca was not cooked properly. Some shamans, and these are also some good shamans, not all the bad ones, but some good shamans are a little bit lazy. They're also human like us, right? And they don't peel the vine, they don't remove the outer layer, like the thicker layer that trees have, before they cook it, right? They just smash it and throw it all into the pot with the water and with the chacruna leaf. But the issue is that this layer has a lot of dirt, fungi, bacteria, and that goes into the medicine. And this will make you feel sick and will make you vomit, but it's more of a vomit out of poisoning than out of purging. And some shamans will tell you, oh, it was all purging, you purged so much, when you just felt pretty sick all night long. And it's usually because they cut corners and they didn't cook the medicine in the cleanest way. When it's a medicine that has been cooked in a very, very clean way, the purging is maybe 2-3 times, sometimes not even once a night, but every time that you vomit, it is very clear what it is that you're releasing. It is not by accident, it is not random, it is not because you're sick. There's a clear intention and direction of it. So I hope this was useful for you. I hope that you're finding value in these videos. Once again, if you want more educational content around ayahuasca for you or your friends, family, lovers, please follow me on Instagram at ayahuasca.colombia, where I post different kinds of things. How to find a good shaman, how to find a good medicine house, how to set up proper intention, how to cleanse your body, how to eat properly. So things that I've learned with a lot of experience over the years working with native shamans. I love you, thank you, and see you next time.